and he come here, and he lived with his cousin. Now, Mariano Spina was a cousin by marriage, because Spina married a cousin of Dad's, Sarah Spina. Sarah Spina was the Sarah Gattuso before marriage.
I see.
See? But only a cousin of Dad's.
So what happened to their children?
They're still here.
They're still in Utica?
Yeah.
They're not here, this is Omaha.
In Utica.
In Utica.
In Utica.
Okay.
And
Spina. I don't know if I know any Spina. Well, let me stop this a minute.
You gotta take those bells down too. There won't be much more. Is it on?
It's on. Very good, Dorothy.
Anytime, Bob.
Is the green light on in there? Look in there, look through the viewfinder, and see if the green light is on.
Green light.
Through the viewfinder.
Is this the viewfinder?
That's right. Is there a green light in there?
Yep.
You're doing good. Come on over here and give us a big hug now. She's a good girl. I think I'll keep her.
well, you could
Oh,
do.
you gotta look at the
you could
picture.
do
Come behind
Ah,
us. Come behind us.
howdy-doody, howdy-doody,
You gotta come
howdy-doody.
behind us. See?
You
You
could
gotta
do.
come behind us. You gotta come behind us. Okay, tell us a story.
I'm telling his dad telling the stories.
All right. Now, where were we? Oh,
You-
yeah. Now, your father, how old was Grandpa when he died?
He was about 57.
And what year did he die?
I think it was 1927.
So he wasn't really very young when he came to this country, was he?
He was young, yeah, quite young. He couldn't have worked at the pipe foundry if he
Yeah.
had been older.
I see. Okay. What did he die of, Dad? What did he have?
I think he died of Percy. Called double pneumonia or something like that. That was his. And at the time, they didn't have penicillin.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, who did he? Now, he was he a big man, a small man, a thin man?
Well-
I know he had a mustache. Or did he shave that off later on?
No, he kept a mustache most of the time. No, well, let me describe him.
Here I come. Okay, now, you were talking about Grandpa. Tell us about Grandpa. You said he was a strong man.
He was. He was
Was he a strict disciplinarian, or was your mother the disciplinarian?
No, my mother wielded the whip. Dad was a very easygoing person, soft-spoken. We'd obey him with his eyes. He didn't have to speak to us. All he had to do is just look at us and then look at what he wanted to done, and we'd follow his orders by his gestures, visual gestures. But he was just as easygoing until he got
Mad.
mad. Then he was hell on wheels. He'd face a lion barehanded. I remember once in Sicily, he had a sort of a falling out with somebody and an argument, but he was sober. So he bore it. He didn't create a disturbance or anything.
Yeah.
But the next time this happened, he wasn't sober.
Same guy?
Same guy.
Yeah.
And there was hell to pay. He was proud. And I don't say reckless, but his pride made him, well, violent when it was disgraced.
Yeah. What? Which one of the boys of your the family either looks like him, most like him, or took after him? You think?
Uncle Mike was a dead picture.
Uncle Mike?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's gone. And Vincent, my oldest brother, he looked like his grandfather on the mother's side.
Well, you look like your mother.
I and George and Charlie.
Angelo.
Angelo
is something else.
Is another is of another strain, really, because he's got bulging eyes and blue eyes.
Blue eyes, yeah.
Bulging blue eyes like Eddie Cantor had. And my mother must have fell in love with somebody who had blue eyes when she first come here in America, you see. And those things do happen. It marked the baby.
Who did Uncle Tony look like?
Uncle Tony looked like his grandfather on his father's side. My father. See, Tony.
Yeah.
And one of my grandmothers died when she was 93. At that time, when the lifespan was anywhere between 50 and 60 at the most, 93 was
That's pretty old.
Pretty old?
Pretty old.
Yeah.
Hey, Dottie? What time is it?
I got it here.
It's
3:45, I would say.
Yeah, you got any coffee?
No, we're gonna eat dinner early, so no
Well,
problem.
why don't you make some coffee? You gonna eat dinner early? We just had a hamburger, honey.
I know, but by the time I cook,
No, Dottie, I don't want to eat early. I'm not hungry. I want a
I'll
cup.
make you coffee. Just
You want a cup of coffee, Dad?
No, not until supper time.
Well, let's not eat it too early, honey.
I'm I got
I drink, I'm gonna have to run back. and
Okay,
forth.
you're all on TV now. You want to tell the world that?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, was there any interesting incidents when you came over on the boat? Do you remember the boat ride?
Oh yes, my mother was afraid of
The water.
traveling on the water, and she was fearful of swimming or going in the water. Oh, she was definitely afraid of going in the water. Not because it would melt her or anything like that, but to tell you the truth, it's so embarrassing I wouldn't even mention it. It's so silly, childlike, believe. But we came here in steerage, 7 children, and her, that's 8. We had no trouble coming, but she spent about 7 days on the cot, that was, you know.
Now, how long did it take you to come?
It took us, let me see, about 9 or 10 days.
That's long.
Yeah, well, those steamers didn't travel that fast in those days.
That's right.
Now they're all motorized now, but in those days, the Yes, they were motorized, but they had low speed.